Like to call to order the Calhoun Parish School Board regularly scheduled agenda meeting on Tuesday, February the 11th at 5 p.m. Our prayer and pledge will be handled by Ms. Phyllis Ayo. Would you all please stand?
Thank you, Father, for bringing us here together tonight. We ask that you instill us with your wisdom, your guidance for us to make policies and decisions and just have the betterment of our entire system in our thoughts. Thank you for allowing us to love and serve you another day. Amen. Amen. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Dr. Van Meter.
Yes, sir. Ms. Ayo.
Here.
Mr. Baumgartner.
Here.
Mr. Grove. Here. Mr. Castile. Ms. Fontenot.
Here.
Ms. Gay.
Here.
Mr. Hardesty.
Here.
Ms. Hardy McReynolds.
Here.
Mr. Natale. Mr. O'Banion.
Here.
Mr. Pichon.
Here.
Mr. Roberts.
Here.
Mr. Tarver.
Here.
Reverend Wallace.
Here.
Dr. Washington.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Item number 3, approval of minutes.
Second.
All right, it was moved by Mr. Damon Hardesty, seconded by Mr. Tarver. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. Number 4, presentations, none. Number 5, superintendent's report.
Yes, sir. You've each received your Head Start report. John F. Kennedy Early Learning Center would like to express our gratitude to the members of the Junior League of Lake Charles for their wonderful shoe donation for 2 consecutive years. We truly appreciate the Junior League of Lake Charles, and we now have an entire school of kids in cool shoes. Our annual coordinated enrollment event is scheduled for Saturday, May 3rd, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Lake Charles Event Center. Program operations, our current enrollment is 450 students. You've each received your school population report for January, reflecting the numbers from January 1st through the 31st. I'd like to report our January 2025 sales tax numbers from our general fund, which show collections of $1,637,834, or 9.5% above budget for the 7th month of the 24-25 fiscal year. Collections are $1,031,273, or 5.8% above collections for the same month last year. And after 7 months, collections are $5,031,049, or 4.7% above budget, and $1,468,566, or 1.3% above the same period last year. Hurricane information was included in your packet. Starks High School teacher Stephen Griffith was named the Louisiana VFW State High School Teacher of the Year. He was nominated by VFW Post 4759, and Mr. Griffith is a retired teacher from Texas, and we're fortunate to have him with us at Starks High. So congratulations to Mr. Griffith for this prestigious award. Congratulations to our theater students that competed in the Louisiana Thespian Festival at Northwestern State University this month. Overall, students from CPSB schools won 3 overall state awards, a second place award, and 7 superior scores, which actually qualifies them for nationals. So I'd like to thank them for representing CPSB so well around the state. Congratulations to the band and choir students as well. The District 5 Honor Band, Honor Jazz Band, and Honor Choir were held this month, and CPSB had a very strong showing. We want to congratulate the students and teachers for their selection and participation. The Risk Management Department is in the process of onboarding our schools for the RAID app. This is a safety and security app for our schools. It's funded and supported by the Louisiana State Police. The Risk Management Department is currently working on mapping out school campuses. I think he finished up today, and mapping out the buildings, and then we'll work with the schools to start onboarding them in March. This software is completely free and provides an additional layer of security on our campuses, and will provide more information as we move along in the process. Team members from the Louisiana Department of Education came to College Oaks Elementary this week to observe Ms. Brandon Pickett, librarian from College Oaks. Ms. Pickett was teaching a lesson in her library on STEM, and the students worked in groups to construct bugs. The lesson was very well received by both students and the Louisiana Department of Education. We'd also like to congratulate students at Conbray Fondale Elementary. Last week, they held their first annual Mastery Jacket ceremony. All students that scored a Mastery or Advance on the LEAP or surpassed their goal on the LEAP Connect received a letter jacket. And Ms. Pam Bell organized this event with the support of SASOL with their partners in Ed at Conbray Fondale. This past month, we also kicked off a partnership with the City of Lake Charles and the City of Lake Charles Fire Department in conjunction with our Career and Tech Ed Department. It's a pilot program for this coming year, and next year students at College Street T&I will be able to take classes geared toward firefighting and criminal justice. We're excited about this opportunity. If everything goes well, we hope to expand the program the following year. And this gives us another opportunity for our students to be exposed to exciting careers like firefighting in a field that's a very high need area. We met with CSRS again this month to prepare our RFP for HVAC. This month we received an update on their progress, and they anticipate being ready to advertise for requests for proposals starting in early March with an anticipated board approval date of the June 3rd board meeting. Scores on the nation's report card were released this week, and standardized test scores in English and math for 4th and 8th grade students. Louisiana continued to climb, and we're currently ranked 32, up from 43 last year and 49th just 5 years ago. So continued improvement from Louisiana schools. I'd also like to give you a reminder that the LSBA annual convention will be held at the Golden Nugget here in Lake Charles, February 25th through the 27th, and a copy of the agenda is at your place. This concludes the superintendent's report.
All right, thank you, Dr. Van Meter. All right, seeing that there aren't any questions, we'll move on to item number 8, committee reports from the Curriculum and Instruction Committee. Mr. Damon Hardesty is chair.
The Calhoun Parish School Board Curriculum and Instruction had Tuesday, January 28th in the boardroom. The C&I meeting was called to order at 5 p.m. Mr. Ronnie Harvey, Chief Academic Officer, presented the board with the calendar committee recommendations for school year 2025, 2026, and 2026, 2027. After much discussion on the proposal, it was recommended and accepted to accept the calendar committee recommendations for 25, 26, and 26, 27 calendar years as presented. And I so move on behalf of the committee.
All right, coming from committee, we need no second. All in favor of the 2025, 26, and 26, 27 calendar as presented? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, motion carries. All right, the ayes have it. All right, item number 9. I'm sorry.
Next, Mr. Harvey presented the board with an update on the CPSB school performance scores. This was for informational purposes only and did not require a vote. This concludes the C&I.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Hardesty. There were no other items to vote on, but thank you very much. All right, item number 9, take appropriate action. A, Enterprise Fleet Management Program update.
Yes, sir. So we were asked for an update on the Enterprise Fleet Management Program. So attached, and you should have before you an update on the Enterprise Fleet Management Program that was approved by the board last summer. As was the initial plan, we currently have 16 leased vehicles, 8 Ford F-150s, 6 Ford F-250s with aftermarket equipment, and 2 Dodge Ram 250s with aftermarket equipment. And we are currently on track to spend about $210,000 this fiscal year. All 16 were purchased by Enterprise from both Ford, but other dealers would contact. This is for information only. I'll just ask for reports. We want to get you the report along with the information on the fleet buy.
All right. All right, Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, thank you for putting this together. What was that process look like? Were we involved with that advertising or anything like that?
No, it doesn't have to go through an advertising process. It
'Cause
doesn't-
I remember wanting to keep open up to everybody and see everything was, I mean, I know
Right.
it keeps a lot of trouble.
It doesn't have to go through an advertising process because we're not purchasing the
Right.
vehicles. They're purchasing them as part of, essentially their fleet, leasing them back to us. But we did ask them to purchase them within the parish. And so that's what this is. Really. They bought everything from Bolton Ford, but they did contact all the other dealerships to see if they wanted to participate or if they had something that met our requirements. So
Did y'all verify that they contacted everybody?
I didn't ask for any documentation about that, but
I didn't know
again,
they sold Dodges.
I'm sorry,
I didn't know Bolton sold Dodge pickups.
I didn't know that either, so,
Yeah.
but,
Find that.
but I can ask them if you'd like.
The, $210,000 tractor spend, is that just on the lease? That's not for the whole program?
We had budgeted about 250 for new vehicles this year, so we're under what we had budgeted for.
I saw 215, but the whole program was 350,
No, it wasn't gonna be that much. It was, I told them we had to stay below,
everything?
all that's included in it.
Okay. I looked at the document earlier that had some additional costs.
Well,
I think on here. it's-
I limited
I mean, if
the.
you're under budget by $150,000, I'm not gonna.
You okay with that, right?
But, yeah.
No, I had told them that they needed to be under 250,000 for the year, so that was their instructions from me.
And maintenance, everything, that's the lease cost, maintenance, everything.
Yeah, the regular maintenance is included in it.
Go ahead, Mr.
Mr. Bourne, I would like to see buy-sell agreements or, purchase agreements or registrations or something for these cars, just for this first time, to see some proof that's where they're buying it from. Because you say you bought a Dodge from Bolton Ford, you did. I mean, you did. Unless they're used or something like that. Right, I'm just saying, don't go off the email. Get us some proof for the first time. They said they were gonna do it, let's see if they really did. Because if they say they bought a Dodge from Bolton Ford, they did not. Unless they were used. Maybe they were used.
Okay, so quick question, Mr. Dr. Membita or Mr. Belfour. Being that this item is undertake action, I know it's informational, but do we need to, is there anything we're changing on it?
It's not necessary that
Okay.
the board take action on it. You've made a request to the superintendent.
Excuse me, I didn't get the last part.
You've made a request to the
Okay,
superintendent.
gotcha, okay, thank you. All right, any other questions? Item 8, all right, moving along to 9B, need a motion and a second, all right? It was, moved by Mr. Rowe, seconded by Mr. Baumgarten, I got it. All right, item B, ratify, approve, and confirm the superintendent's declaration of default and contract termination of the general contractor on the Sulphur High School Hurricane Repairs Project HL 052-01 and authorize the superintendent to execute contracts and other documents appropriate for completion of the project.
Yeah, so this is the contractor at Sulphur High, was not proceeding like it needed to. Yes, sir. So we are in the process of going through and going with another contractor.
Yes, sir, go ahead, Mr. Rowe.
Any liens that we know of? Bunch, like, bunches. That's part of the process.
It's going to be a process.
I still say we need to sit down. This point of privilege, just give me a little bit of news. This isn't the first time that this kind of happened with a contractor, so we will pursue it. We need to be able to get with our local legislators and sit down and explain to them what's going on and have a couple architects come in and explain to them how the bid process is going on because it prepares. But anyway, Texas has a part of their low bid laws is like a qualifier. If you end up having issues like this or other issues that get you on this list, you can actually come in and disqualify them, even if they're low bid.
There's a process in Louisiana for that too, and we discussed that with Greg a number of times. So But just to give everybody kind of an idea of what's going on with this particular contract, this particular bidder, it started off that it mostly involves roofing on this job in Sulphur. And he was not paying the sub. The sub finally pulled off the job because he was extending himself way too far on this thing. And the roof's secure and it's keeping moisture out, but it's not completed just yet. They still got to put the top cap on there. But the bigger problem is that he wasn't paying that sub and several other subs, and we were getting liens and those sorts of things filed. I have held back enough money off of things. We stopped paying him to make sure that we've got enough money held back to pay any of the liens that we have occurred on us. So we're tracking all that. So we've got enough money held back to pay to satisfy the liens, as Greg has advised me to do many, many times. So even if we get a notice of non-payment, it's not necessarily a formal lien, we're holding that money back too. And this has been going on for several months with this contract, and we finally just got to a point where they weren't adhering to schedules, they weren't paying their subs, and we just said, we can't keep going like this. So we started the process, got with the architect, they sent us a letter of recommendation to declare them default to the contract and not adhere to the provisions of the contract, and we gave them a notice. The notice expired yesterday, I think, today, I think. They had to get a 7-day notice. They've been done that, and they pulled off the job. And so now we're working with the surety who is in place to make sure that the contract gets finished. And so now the surety is going to be taking over the contract and hiring another general contractor to take over and hopefully maintain all the subcontracts in place, and we can get this job moving again. If there's any difference between what that contractor charges and what we would have charged, the surety is going to write us a check for the difference. So in the end, we're not out any more money than what was the original bid on it. So but the surety is stepping in on us. And they're not fighting about it. In fact, we were talking with them all along the way. And so they were in complete agreement with declaring this company in default.
Is it GC on any other jobs?
They're on 2 other jobs in the parish right now. One of them is at Rosti, having some problems there, and they had Highway, but they're just about finished with Highway. We're in fact, we're probably going to be declaring substantial at the next board meeting for Highway. So they're at the end on that. Got a few of those problems with some liens on that job too, but we didn't have as extensive of problems they having solved. So, and we're having some issues with Rosti. We may go down the same road with Rosti. It's a much smaller job, but it's solved.
Mrs. Gay?
Ms. Bourne pretty much answered the question when he went to the mic that I had. Just one other thing, it wasn't a problem with the individuals doing the actual work. It was the person that we had given the contract to who was not paying these individuals.
Right, our problem wasn't with the subcontractors, it was with the general contractor.
Okay, thank you.
Being that there aren't any other questions or comments, all in favor of 9B to ratify approval of confirm the superintendent's declaration of default and contract termination, as well as authorize the superintendent to execute contracts and other documents appropriate for completion of the project, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. All right, 9C. Approval to revise instructional minutes for the remainder of 24-25 school year due to storm days.
Move on C.
All right, thank you. It's moved by Mr. Brewer, seconded by Ms. Fontenot. Dr. Sandy.
Sure. So after the recent weather days, we're short by a little bit of time, almost 2 days. And following changes were made, we would comply with the state requirement of 63,720 instructional minutes for the year. So the first thing I suggest doing is converting the teacher in-service day on March 10th to a virtual day for students. So the teachers would continue to report to school for the in-service. They would just have a virtual assignment that would constitute the instructional minutes for March 10th for the students. This would allow for flexibility within the school to assign online work, projects, packets, etc. Additionally, the students would not be required to physically attend school on March the 10th. And then secondly, we raised the instructional minute requirements within the parish to 385 from 380 for the remainder of the year. Most schools are already getting the 385 minutes. Remaining schools, and mainly this is going to be middle and high, would be able to gain the 5 additional minutes just by reducing transitions throughout the day. So what this would do is this would limit the disruption of transportation. There wouldn't be any, and there wouldn't change any start or end times for schools. We'd be able to work that out within the day. So staff recommends making these changes for the instructional minutes for the 24-25 school year.
Mr. Tarver?
I'll go be a butthole here. I'm sure everybody's gonna hate me. I'm a hard no on this. I think we should be in school. I understand what you're trying to do, make it easy on everybody, but I'm not interested in making it easy on everybody. I'm interested in having the kids in school. So, I'm gonna make a substitute motion that may not live, but I'm gonna make a substitute motion that we have school that day.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Tarver, seconded by Mr. Dean. All right. Any questions? Any questions or comments? Any comments on that?
I just agree. I agree with Mr. Tarver. I just, we had 3 unfortunate weather days. We could have done a virtual day, maybe that day 3. What are we gonna do if we have another weather event?
If we have another weather event, we're out of minutes. We would have to go for a waiver at that point. But even if we were to change that day from a virtual day to a full instruction day, we do the exact same way. The virtual day problem isn't as big of a problem on some schools, let's say, that have devices that they've checked out to kids and they take them home. We've got a lot of schools, for example, that either they use the devices at school and don't take them home, or especially in elementaries, don't check out the devices at all. They just stay in school. So when you say, hey, for that 3rd day, we could have had a virtual day, things become a little bit more challenging with a virtual day, as opposed to what I'm suggesting here, where we've got some time to do all that stuff.
Maybe we should plan better in the future. I don't think the quality, it's a no-brainer, the quality instructions. So, the teachers are already going to be there.
They are.
I think we should have the children in school. Just my opinion.
Right, Dr. Washington?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I disagree with having a, in-person day. I think our kids have been through a lot this year. I do. And, I think that they would benefit from the virtual day as well, the same as if they were in school. So a virtual day is not a play day. It is actually a chance for them to actually obtain knowledge. So I'm going to go with the first motion.
Any other comments? Yes, sir, Mr. Pro.
So define a virtual day for those of us who've never been a teacher.
Yeah, so it can look at a variety of different ways, right? So for example, at some schools, we do have schools that they'll check out laptops, let's say, to a kid at the very beginning of the year. They bring it home with them every day, back and forth. With a virtual day, things get a little bit easier with a kid like that, right? So for example, a teacher can just assign something online, or teachers can assign things online, and the kid can work it that way. In cases where we're not assigning devices to kids to bring home, because we have this much time ahead, if they wanted to do projects, if they wanted to do packets, if they wanted, I would leave it up to the teachers in order to basically plan instruction for that day, for that kid, in terms of what that would look like. So it may look different, if your kid has 8 different classes in a day and they're in high school, it may look different 8 different times for them, because some work may be online, some may be a project. It really depends on the teacher.
So how would that, if we, let's say this passes and they go to school, are we paying additional for bus drivers and everything else, or is that just?
No, so we wouldn't run, well, if we ended up having school that day, we would have to run buses and things like that.
Right.
Now, in terms of whether or not it was paid extra, I can't speak to that off the top of my head. To be honest with you, we paid them for the snow days, so my guess would be no, but we would double check.
All right, any other questions on the subsequent motion? All right, before we take vote on the, yes, sir, Mr. Roberts.
We're really arguing whether we want to have a good instructional day or not. That's what this is about. We know on virtual day, there's going to be kids that aren't going to get, they're not going to get the same attention they would at school. They're not going to get fed like they would at school. And We haven't had hurricanes, just that, they had 3 play days in the snow, and that's great. But we weren't prepared to get the minutes during that time. That's on us. We ought to have their bus to school, and that's what it comes down to. It's not about, do we need to spend more gas money on buses or transportation? So, thank you.
All right, Ms. Ayo.
Dr. Van Meter, what was y'all's reason for wanting it to be virtual versus instruction?
Well, the logic behind the virtual versus the instruction is that where the teachers were gonna be that day and where the kids were gonna be that day wouldn't change, right? And I completely understand about having the kids come on that day. If that's the route y'all wanna go, we're good. So, like I said, we were gonna have our folks in the same place either way with what we presented to you, but we can easily turn that, we've done that before and turn that in-service day into a face-to-face day.
All right, Mr. Natale.
Quick question, so if we do the instructional day, obviously the teachers can't have their in-service days, that's what condition day.
No, so they would be at work anyway, right? So the teacher, it's a wash. What would end up happening is we would, whatever PD we have planned that day, we'll do it. We'll make it work.
All right, any other questions, comments? Okay. All right, we're going to take vote on the subsequent motion, but I'm going to ask Mr. Tarver to restate it, and we will be taking vote out there.
So, yeah, I appreciate you giving me an opportunity, and I'm gonna state it in a slightly different way, if that's okay. I don't know who seconded it, Mr. Roberts. So what I want is the kids in school. I don't care if it's better to do a different day. So if there's another day that works better, that's the day. So you want to just make a motion that day? Okay, then the motion is?
Now, we still want to let us adjust transitions for the other part? Or do you want to put?
No, I'm fine with the other part. Just add minutes, that's fine. Yeah, but there's too many minutes. There's too many minutes to add enough minutes to eliminate the day.
That's correct.
Right. So the motion is that we go to school like normal on, is it March the 10th?
Roger that.
That's the motion. So yes is to go to school, no would be to go back to not going to school. And look, I just want to, I should probably keep my mouth shut, but I'm just not going to. A virtual day is not a real day, okay? So pretending virtual school was real school is the greatest travesty, probably, tragedy and travesty that we've ever perpetrated against the public. And I'm not saying we did it voluntarily, but it's not a real day. So it's not a real day. Let's don't pretend it's a real day. So if we start saying, let's just have virtual days anytime we close school, we're doing two things. We're saying that the virtual day is as good as the real day, which is not. And the other thing we're saying is we can just close school anytime we want and just call a closed day a virtual day. And that's a slippery slope I don't want to go down. So I'm a hard no, and I want the kids in school. I want the kids in school.
All right. With that being stated, restated, all in favor of Mr. Tarver's subsequent motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, we're gonna do roll call.
Ms. Hale,
Yes.
Mr. Baumgartner.
No.
Mr. Bro,
Yes.
Mr. Castile. Ms. Fontenot,
Yes.
Ms. Gay,
No,
Mr. Hardesty,
Yes.
Ms. Hardy McReynolds,
No.
Mr. Natale,
Yes.
Mr. O'Banion,
No.
Mr. Pichon,
No.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Tarver,
Yes.
Reverend Wallace,
No.
Dr. Washington.
No.
Don't you got 7-7.
All right. So, subsequent motion fails. So we go back to the original on the item C, which is the approval to revise instructional minutes for the remainder of the 2025 school year due to storm days as Dr. Van Meter and staff has recommended. All right, all in favor of the original motion, say aye.
I'd like to request a roll call vote, please.
Yes, sir.
Just to make sure I understand, it's on both parts of the recommendation, virtual day and instructional visits. That's the motion you're voting on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, back to the original. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays?
Nay.
All right, so roll call vote.
Ms. Ayer,
Now we can finish this, we can do roll call.
Mr. Baumgartner,
Yes.
Mr. Grow,
No.
Mr. Castile, Ms. Fontenot,
Yes.
Ms. Gay,
No.
Mr. Hardesty,
Yes.
Ms. Hardy McReynolds,
No.
Mr. Natale,
Yes.
Mr. O'Banion,
Yes.
Mr. Pishon,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
No.
Mr. Tarver,
No.
Reverend Wallace,
Yes.
Dr. Washington.
Yes.
9-5.
Okay, all right, motion carries. All right. All right. 9B, approval to hire outside counsel, Stutes and Laverne Law Firm for sales tax dispute with Boyd Racing LLC. Mr. O'Banion was made the motion, seconded by Mr. Natale, right?
So we've got a sales tax dispute with Boyd, and we're just seeking to go with some outside counsel in the work.
Any questions? All in favor of 9B? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Gay.
Okay, is this the same dispute that we've spoken about before? This is a new one? This is new?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you give us a little insight in what the dispute pertains?
It's Boyd Racing, and they're basically disagreeing with the amount of taxes that they think that you have to pay. They want to appeal, and so we're asking for outside counsel to represent us with that.
They're disputing what? I didn't
The
understand.
sales tax that they have to pay.
That they have to pay?
Yes, ma'am.
They have a choice in
Well, that's what
it?
that's what this dispute is.
I'm just trying to get some direction.
They're
I just started
they're
disputing.
saying what they have to pay is less than what the board is saying they have to pay. So they want to dispute that, and so there's a board of tax appeals for that, and so they want to be able to go to that board and appeal their bill, basically. After both an audit and an assessment.
Oh, okay.
All right, any other questions? All right, all in favor of item D to approve to hire outside counsel, Stutes Laverne to law firm for sales tax dispute with Boyd Racing, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries, and ayes have it. Item E, 9E, approval for Head Start federal grant at $4,818,215 for J.D. Clifton Elementary, J.F. Kennedy Elementary, J. Dross, Brenda Hunter, and J.I. Watson Elementary. All right, Hardesty, Mr. Hardesty moved and seconded by Dr. Washington. Any questions? All right, Ms. Gay. Go ahead.
I know I've been away a while, but, what are we approving? Do they have it? Are we approving for them to, apply for it?
No, ma'am. So this is how they get the bulk of their funding.
Okay,
So basically, you're approving for them to be able to take this money and accept it.
okay, so we have the money, okay. And we're approving for them to accept the money.
Yes, ma'am, I believe so.
I'm not gonna ever turn money down.
Any other questions? All right, all in favor of 9E, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries, ayes have it. All right, number 10, permission to advertise. All right, it was moved by Mr. O'Banion, A through D, 10A through D, and seconded by Ms. McReynolds, A through D. All right, first A, bid number 2025-01, janitorial supplies, general fund. All in favor, say aye. Any nays? Motion carries. All right, B, bid number 2025-7, copy paper, general fund. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, motion carries. C, bid 2025-26, 3-year DWR dishwasher rentals food services fund. All in favor, say aye. Yes, sir.
Do we rent dishwashers?
Sir, sorry, I missed
We,
that.
it says dishwasher rentals.
Yes, sir.
We're renting dishwashers?
No, only thing we're renting it, or the service for them to go out and provide the service, to keep the upkeep and the chemicals for the upkeep.
No, so it's a service. Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right.
It's all service.
All right. C, bid 2025, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. D, bid 2025-26, chemicals food services fund. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. 11, bid reports, we have none. 12, bid reports. All right, it was moved by Ms. McReynolds and seconded by Mr. Natale. 12A, phase 4 improvements, interior and exterior are Ray D. Momo Middle School, District 31 bond funds. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, any nays? All right, motion carries. Ayes have it. No correspondence from 13. Number 14, condolences and recognitions. I'm gonna start to my left. Ms. Gay,
I have none.
all right, Mr. O'Bain, all right, Mr. Buckenbaugh. All right, Ms. Mondo, all right, Mr. Hardesty, all right, Mr. Tarver, all right, well, Mr. Natale, all right, Ms. McReynolds, Mr. Roberts, all right, Mr. Brook.
I'd like to recognize Mr. Clinton for reminding me that it was Tuesday, not Monday.
All right, thank you. Do we need to take that down and send a letter?
Yeah.
Dr. Washington? All right.
No.
All right. Zale?
I'd like to thank Aaron McDonald for organizing, Ben and DeQuincy being able to play at McNeese tonight. Just their gym is
All right, and I do have two condolences. One to a former employee with our school district, Mrs. Roma Mitchell. She's a retired educator for the passing of her daughter, Mrs. Toy Sterling. And the second one will go to a retired employee, Miss Yolanda Duhan, retired educator, obviously. But for passing of her brother, Mr. Gilbert Deschamps. I do have those alternatives in that. All right, item number 15, scheduled committees, Employee Benefits Committee, February 18th at 5 p.m. And then following, the Superintendent's Evaluation Committee. And then on March 25th, the A&P meeting at 5 p.m. And then following after that will be the Budget and Fiscal Management Committee meeting.
Reverend Miles.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. If it's all right with y'all, we would like to change the March 25th to be March 27th. We found out today, Mr. Warren's going to be out of town on the 25th, but we'll be back on the 27th. So if possible, can we do it on the 27th for A&P and budget?
We can't just call him or FaceTime him,
Well, you know,
virtual date.
since it's his committee.
20, all right, the 27th, all right. A&P committee meeting March 27th at 5 p.m. And then following thereafter will be the budget committee meeting at thereafter. A&P committee meeting again on April 29th at 5 p.m. All right, item number 16. Need a motion to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
All right, everybody raise their hands. Mr. Tarver, and then seconded by Mr. O'Bain. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
By the way, all your paperwork for the